even though I am a veteran in this game and I am so many years into this, I still have rooms to grow. We've all been in those environments where one person is just overflowing with ego. No one's bigger than the program.
You're not bigger than the program. None of us are bigger than the program. Right. Think about the places in your life where you can be more humble. The things that you're hiding or bottling that go unseen. It's really a greater lesson for everyone.
Welcome back to another episode of Curls of the Game, where your favorite curly-haired girls go deep beyond the surface and dive into the things and topics that really matter. Jaya, how are you?
I'm great.
So first things first, what's been on your mind?
It's really just crazy times that we're living in. Have you been seeing all of these Labubu dolls? I'm sure you have.
Yes. I'm personally not a fan.
No?
But let me not
What are your
judge.
thoughts? What are your thoughts on the dolls?
My whole thing is they're not cute, first of all, and then you want to add them on as a charm to your bag, a nice designer bag at that most of the time. So you're not wasting, in my opinion it's wasting, but you're spending a good amount of money on these because you're collecting them, right? It's not just one or two. Most of them collect.
And I think for me, it's just how quickly they popped up. I just randomly would start seeing them everywhere, and I still see them everywhere. But what's crazy is, do you know you can customize them now? Like, you can give them tattoos, tooth gems.
Okay.
They have jewelry for the Labubus and little outfits. So people are really getting into it. And it just makes me think about fast trends, like how quickly things become trendy and then die out. Like, I predict the Labubu phase is probably gonna fizzle.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy how with social media things get cool and then not cool so fast.
That's what you call consumerism, unfortunately. But I agree. Everything's just so trendy. Whatever is the new thing, people hop on it, and then once it dies, it fizzles out, it's on to the next. It's like, do y'all even really like this?
Yeah.
Or is it just because you want to hop on the wave?
Yeah. It's like, do you like it?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe people like it. I don't have one personally, so maybe we're just haters.
Maybe we're just haters.
Maybe we don't see the vision, you know what I mean? But I don't know.
It's just not giving individuality, in my opinion.
I think trends today are a lot of groupthink. Like, you'll see one thing and then everyone's getting it, and then it becomes basic and no one likes it anymore. So I do wonder how much longer realistically we're going to see these dolls before they become like last year's news. You know what I mean? Because I feel like they're already kind of starting to look a little overused.
Overused, for sure. That's why whenever I see it, I'm like, it's giving corny a little bit. Not gonna lie. Not to be the bearer of bad news. But
people are about to come for you over these Labubu dolls.
Labubus,
people love
bad.
their dolls.
Sorry, y'all. But anyways, speaking of which, our generation, I feel like we talk about Gen Z a lot. As
we are members.
Last episode, and now this Labubu talk. But everyone, I guess, loves to talk about us and has stated, has Gen Z, are they going through the midlife crisis? Because it seems like they've just skipped ahead to traveling and taking trips as if they've retired already. What do you think about what
do you mean? What is define midlife crisis?
I mean,
or do you mean quarter life? Because we're usually in our 20s.
Quarter life. You're right. It's technically quarter life.
Because I guess we are all in like the 25 and up range now.
Unfortunately, let's not talk about that.
But what is a quarter life crisis to you? Because I feel like we need to define that.
To me, it's just like going in shambles. Like, just you're in shambles. You are. I guess there's not a specific definition for it, but when I think about quarter life crisis, it's just I've lost all hope. I'm losing it. I don't really have a grasp on my future, and I'm kind of just doing whatever my heart desires.
Yeah. My definition is a little different, because I feel like it's not necessarily that you're in shambles, but when you hit that quarter life age, all of a sudden it just feels like you're supposed to know what's going on. So that pressure and that anxiety is what gives the crisis feeling.
Yeah.
And maybe quarter life crisis, usually people are like, okay, should I be getting married? Should I be having kids? Should I be here in my career? What should I be doing? And maybe we're just kind of like, you know what? I don't want to do any of that.
I don't want to think about that because, I mean, even just the thought of us turning 26, it's like, oh gosh, I really don't even want to think about all that comes with it. As you mentioned,
Right.
some of the people in our age group are getting married and having babies, like you mentioned, and I'm over here like, it's quiet for all that, and I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know what's ahead in the next 4 or 5 years. So
Well, do you feel like you hit a crisis this year?
You know,
We're 25.
We're 25, disclaimer.
I fear.
But I think I'm in a good spot. I haven't really crashed out about anything. I truly feel like...
Really? You haven't
yeah.
crashed out about anything? I just feel like scientifically that cannot be true.
Not a huge crash out, you know, just like side crash out.
Not like a life destruction.
Not let me go shave my hair or, you know, dye my hair.
Not like a
do
Britney
anything.
Spears
Exactly.
07, but a mid-level. What's a mid-level crash out for you?
Mid-level. There's layers to this. Crying or just, yeah, I don't know. I
Is
really,
crying crashing out?
Is it not? It's
Is
in there.
it?
It's in there. Crying
You think?
is involved in crashing out.
I feel like crying is just kind of a human emotion
Yeah.
that we should
Well,
all
see,
do. I cry all the time.
Well, I'm like, we'll see. Maybe because I'm just not a crier, so it is
Really?
more of a rare occasion for me.
Really? So you don't cry?
No. I maybe
See.
cry once a year.
What?
Yes, I'm not a frequent
How?
crier.
Okay, that's
But-
where you and I differ.
But this is like, not to make this a therapy session, but I do bottle things up a lot, so it's like, yeah.
So you don't release it with tears?
I don't release it with tears.
Do you
no.
release your emotions?
I'm
at all?
like, that's another whole nother story. I definitely
Yeah.
don't. I definitely suppress a lot.
Yeah. So if it's not crying, what have you found to be a healthy outlet for your emotions?
Taking walks, reconnecting with nature for real. I know everyone loves to make a joke about that.
We had to do that a
truly, we
few
have
times
to
this
do
weekend.
that.
You guys, we had to reconnect with nature, I think like 3 times.
Yes.
In between all of this
Yes.
filming and the stress of life. We went to, what did we do? We went to the
We
beach.
went to the beach.
That was
laid,
great.
We laid by the pool a bit.
Yeah, we did. What else did we do? I feel like
That's-
our days merge into each other so
Yeah.
quickly.
No, seriously, this whole week.
Oh
But
yeah, we
really
had a
just
pool day.
Pool day, just taking the rays of the sun.
We went to the outdoor flea market.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
That was
cute.
therapeutic. You know, another outlet can always be shopping. For me.
I try not to. I try not to splurge, but yes, I am very much guilty of
Retail therapy.
yes, retail therapy. Yes, that's exactly what I do. Retail therapy.
Yeah. So
But-
you touched a lot on traveling for our. You see that a lot, like just.
Yeah, that was the main critique, I guess, of
Mm-hmm.
our generation. We just are taking trips,
True.
catching flights.
I do think that's true. I just got back from Italy last week.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
maybe
You're one to talk.
maybe you're on to something, because I will say leaving the country has always been the best mental health fix that I've found. It does help you cope. It does. Do you travel a lot? Yeah.
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 Yes. I mean.
So maybe there is some truth to that. Why
Yeah.
are we all jet setting?
But I'm not mad. I mean, there's other ways. There's other negative ways we could resort to, and we're not. You know what I'm saying? We are coping in a healthy manner by seeing the
Yeah.
world and taking in new cultures.
Yeah. I mean, of course, if you have the luxury and ability to do that, I
Right.
would encourage anyone that wants to go out into the world, see different cultures, see different places, to go do that, because it is life-changing and it expands your world perspective. But it is interesting because I guess it is true. Usually you're supposed to, the old-fashioned mindset is work now and enjoy later in retirement, then you can go travel or, take vacations here and there. And we do kind of prioritize that more. I don't know if I view it as a quarter life crisis thing, but that could be me being in denial. So I don't know.
Right. Who knows?
I don't know if it's a crisis, but I do think maybe our priorities are just in a different place.
Definitely.
And, with social media and being able to see what's out there a lot more, I think it can encourage people to want to go take that leap if they have the means to do that.
Yes. One coworker of mine said recently, traveling is just a mindset. So even if you don't have...
What does that mean?
I mean, it's training your mind to, regardless of the environment or situation, making the best out of it. Like, you don't have to spend the money or get on a physical flight.
I get what you mean, because it's like, if your regular everyday life is something that you feel like you need to escape from, then that can be taxing mentally.
And great segue. Today, we are really diving into what goes on beneath the surface, whether that be navigating loyalty or tapping into the rookie mindset, or even just unpacking emotions that aren't as visible. Because themes like loyalty, humility, and grief, which we're all going to get into today, they may seem pretty straightforward, but until you live them, it's a whole different story. Every off-season, every postseason, we see these trades happen that raise the question of, is there loyalty in sports? One of them being most recently this postseason, Damian Lillard. He was waived from the Milwaukee Bucks, which it was a shock to some in the sports world, one of them being an NBA legend, Carmelo Anthony. He had his 2 cents to say. He even fully commented on the ESPN Instagram post, all caps and everything, so he clearly felt some type of way about it. He said, "Business as usual, shaking my head." So that man clearly wasn't really vibing with the move.
Wasn't vibing, to put it lightly.
To say the least.
Right.
I mean, to go on the Instagram page, all caps at that, I think he's showing his emotions for sure. Friendships, jobs, and even relationships sometimes only last as long as they serve both parties. How can you tell when it's real, though?
When it's true loyalty?
Yeah. A situation like, Miles Turner. He thought that he would remain on the Pacers at least he wanted to remain on the Pacers for a good amount of his career. And then next thing you know, he's traded. Right. So for him, he may have felt as though we are locked in. But then next thing you know, you're up out of here.
Here's the thing about loyalty. In sports, it feels more like a marketing tactic. Like the idea of loyalty and the concept of loyalty, if you think about it, the true loyalty is within the fan bases, the people showing up, the people putting money in these teams' pockets. And to garner their loyalty, they want to build up certain players and build up team mindsets, create hashtags of one love or one team, whatever have you, so that the fans can continue to be loyal to that organization.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, because it is more deeply rooted within the fan base. So that doesn't necessarily mean that the actual teams and owners and organizations really care about the players. It's more so let's galvanize together as a whole unit to show off ourselves as a brand, essentially, because sports, as we're talking about, are there as much a company as they are a brand. So they're trying to sell themselves and put themselves in the best light, which, to that point, they truly are only looking out for their best interests. They don't really care about the players and what they've got going on.
Yeah.
So
I feel like loyalty is very performative a lot of the time. I wouldn't say any one player or one team is 100% loyal all the time. And they shouldn't be. You have to look out for your best interest at the end of the day. But I have met and I have seen so many loyal fans. And they have succeeded in putting out that propaganda to create that loyalty. Because there are people that will ride till dawn for a team regardless of what's happening, even if they are disappointed. I'm sure Bucks fans, there's so many that are hurt, that are disappointed about this Damian Lillard situation, using that example, but at the end of the day, that was really the goal of loyalty within the sports.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because one thing about it, the fans be diehard.
They do.
So,
They do. And shout out to the fans, because that's really what's making the money at the end of the day, is people watching, people buying tickets to these games, buying those jerseys. So that's where the loyalty really lies. But I know Damian's going to be fine.
Yes.
Whatever happens, he has the ball in his court now. He can choose where he wants to go once he's better. So it is just crazy, though. It doesn't really matter, even if you had an amazing season.
It doesn't. They
You're
don't
never,
care.
never feel like you're 100% safe. It's crazy times.
Because one thing about it, these companies are going to make them money moves. So that's the top of their mind. I know we talked about it being crazy, though, to even think about, being traded regardless of where you stand. Do you have an example of when you may have felt like you were in a transactional relationship?
I would say, of course. There's so. How can you not?
About that a little bit.
Transactional relationships, of course. I think even in my experience as a student athlete, when I was on dance team in college, it definitely, that propaganda of you're replaceable was always told to us. Like, yes, you work hard and we love you, and even if you become a fan favorite, you're still replaceable, or there's another girl that wants your spot, so you have to work even harder, and that mindset, I think it can be a little unhealthy at times, but it is the reality of sport, is that there's always going to be someone new, there's always going to be an opportunity, there's always going to be someone working just as hard as you, or that wants it just as much as you do, or if not more. So when I was on dance team, I think that's when I really realized, like, this is what it is, and I have to take advantage of my opportunity right now, but that doesn't mean that my spot is ever safe.
Can't get too comfortable.
You can't.
Yeah.
Well, what about you? Have you ever felt that way?
I mean, for me, it comes more so on the friendship side. I feel like because I am naturally a giving person and take others into account majority of the time, that's when it sort of backstabs me. Not necessarily, I'm not saying that, you should change your ways, but it kind of ringed a light bulb in my head saying, Chloe, people may not think about you in the same way that you're thinking about them.
What's an example of something like that happened?
I think just being considerate about, hey, you are such a loyal friend in my eyes. I'm going to go on my way to invite you to certain things, put you on, and let you borrow my clothes, and I give you, like, literally give you the clothes off my back and house you in certain situations, and just literally be a lending hand, right? And then all for them to sort of switch up on me. It clearly was just transactional. They wanted something out of me, so it seemed, right? Obviously, there's two sides to the story in any situation, but in my POV, that's what it seemed like, just a transactional relationship. So as I mentioned, it sort of just opens your eyes to, Chloe, this is how it goes.
You were expecting something from someone and didn't get it back.
Yeah, I mean, and not even that. It's not the expectations. It's more so the decency, And I think that's why Carmelo made his comment about no loyalty in sports. Like, damn, there's not even the decency to respect this player. It's a respect thing at the end of the day when it comes to those sort of relationships.
I think that's why I always keep the bar low for everything.
So I've learned, yes.
Or not low, but it's like hope for the best, but expect the worst. That classic saying is something that I've always had in the back of my mind. And I think it's just a way to remind yourself that not everyone has the same mindset and the same heart that you have. And obviously, if things work out, amazing, but it's always good to prepare yourself for both sides, for either shoe to drop. I can confidently say loyalty is sold a lot more than it's lived, but I would love to see more of it. I would love to see a lot more loyalty. I hope whatever conversation was had with Damian in the Bucks front office was done respectfully. Yeah. I hope he felt respected when he left, because at least that's the decency I think you're talking about.
Exactly, yes.
This next headline also has to do with mindset, but more particularly the rookie mindset. What that looks like when you're a veteran in the game. So Seattle Mariner legend Ichiro Suzuki was recently inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame class of 2025. And during his speech, he referred to himself as a rookie for the third time in his career. He noted his first time being a rookie was his rookie year with the Buffaloes.
Yeah.
Then he went on to play with the Mariners. That was his second time. And he said now that he's inducted into a Hall of Fame and is now considered a Hall of Famer, this is his third time being a rookie. It attests to his humility and his ability to stay humble even when he's reached the highest point in his baseball career. I want to talk about why that's so important.
Yeah, I mean, I loved hearing that speech because I feel like it goes unnoticed. The players that do have that humble, grounded mindset. He could have gone up there and listed off all his accolades, but to go on that platform, on that stage and say, I am a rookie. Brand new. But that's a great mindset to have because it allows for growth. I feel like when you have such a big ego, it can stunt you from where you're trying to go. Even though I am a veteran in this game and I am so many years into this, I still have room to grow. Even across any field you're in. Denzel Washington, someone had told me he still goes to acting school.
Really?
Yes,
yeah.
Right? Isn't that shocking? Because he is at the top of his game. And the fact that he is able to take classes as if he was a rookie, I feel like that's such an amazing mindset to have.
Yeah. I mean, no one wants to play or work with someone that thinks they're bigger than the team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
no one's bigger than the program.
You're not bigger than the program, okay? And I think more people need to remember none of us are bigger than the program. At the end of the day, that's really what that is. Building trust, it comes with knowing that you're contributing to the greater good of a team. And that kind of ties into loyalty a little bit too, being loyal to the people you work with, no matter what that is. So humble people are a lot easier to work with. They're a lot easier to train or to coach. And to me, I think those are the people, like you said, even with Denzel Washington, people that are humble have longer careers, have more longevity because of that, because they always wanted to grow, always wanted to focus. And yeah, I just find that to be a really great reminder that you should never be too entitled to anything that you have in your life, you know, especially with these younger athletes and those egos being kept in check.
In any space, right? It doesn't have to be sport. But we've all been in those environments where one person is just overflowing with ego, where it's kind of just messing up the vibe, and it's like, who does he think he is?
No,
you know?
seriously.
Like, pipe down, please.
Relax. You're not bigger than the program. And yeah, I think even in anything you do, it's always better to let your performance speak for itself without having to announce it. If you're really stellar, if you're truly exceptional, people are going to see that regardless. So you don't have to announce yourself every time.
What's understood don't gotta be explained, so they say.
Exactly.
Have you ever had that experience yourself where you feel like the ego has gotten in the way of you being great?
Yeah, all the time, actually. There's a fine line between being confident in what you're doing and always knowing that you can improve. Like, for example, for me with dance, I had taken years off, hadn't danced in like 2-3 years, and I took a dance class knowing that I'm not going to be as good as I was, obviously, when I was training for hours every week, every day, and having to deal with being a rookie at something that I used to just be good at. And that was kind of a reminder that even when I was in my prime dance-wise, there was always more to learn that I should have taken advantage of. So for me, I think that's a good example of, you know what, stay humble all the time. And being a rookie is okay. Being a rookie in anything you do is okay. I like that idea of being a rookie of life. What about you?
Should. Yeah, I try to keep an open mind about everything I do, but it is hard, right? We don't want to see ourselves struggle. We don't want others to see us struggle. So it can be a battle, an internal battle of just letting my guard down and jumping into things. And if I take the L, then so be it. And if not, like, either way, we can grow from it. But we just have to step into things knowing that regardless, there are things to grow. There are things to grow from. There are things to learn from. So that's how I like to look at it.
Yeah, and even when I went back into my master's program, you know, I just got my master's this year for sports journalism.
Give it up.
Yes, humbly.
Humble.
Just got my master's, but I remember when I first entered the program last year, I went in with a rookie mindset of, you know what, even though I do have an undergraduate degree in communications, I really want to take this opportunity to do things right, to learn, to improve, to make as many connections as possible and perfect my craft to the best of my ability. And I think that's how I was able to get the most out of that experience versus if I had gone back into school thinking, you know what, I've already done this and I'm just kind of here to refine a little bit, you know?
You shouldn't take shortcuts is what I've learned, right? And sometimes we just try to speed through just because we feel like we've been there already or feel like we've already gone through the ranks and we don't need to do all the extra steps. But for me, myself, and my job, I'm technically a director of multimedia content. And so I have had to learn how to fully direct some of our sports shows. So I have one upcoming where I had no idea what I was doing, but I was given a skeleton and a script and the whole format of just jumping in there and even asking my boss, hey, how do you do this? I have no idea what I'm doing. Please teach me.
Like not being afraid to ask questions kind of thing.
Because that is essentially what a rookie does. They go out there and they've got a fresh slate at what they do, and they've got to be fine and okay with learning point A to point Z without feeling any sort of embarrassment, because it's okay. You've got to let that propaganda go of, like,
it's okay to not know everything. Exactly. None of us know everything. And curiosity, like you said, I like how you asked questions with that new position, because curiosity, even at the top of your game, is such a strength. I think the moment that you think you know everything is usually the moment that you start falling off. Because one thing I've noticed, if you aren't humble already, life is going to humble you. At some point, life is going to humble you. None of us escapes that. It happens to the best of us, and the game is always changing too, especially for athletes. The game is always changing. So if you're not keeping a pulse on that, if you're not constantly adjusting and elevating, you can fall behind thinking that, the way you've done it is just how it should be.
It's crazy, but as things change, so do our life circumstances. There's no doubt about that. And a lot of athletes recently have opened up about their struggles in life and the things that have been thrown at them. I know Carmelo Anthony on his podcast, it's been such an impactful platform to have athletes open up about those deep but meaningful stories about, hey, I'm dealing with things truly. Although it may look like everything's fine and dandy as an athlete, I too am a real human being who experiences things like death and grief. I mean, Carmelo Anthony had DeMar DeRozan on his podcast recently, and they both shared stories about playing a game, mid-game, and getting a phone call saying that Carmelo Anthony, his sister, had passed away. Or DeMar DeRozan was actively playing games, but each night after a game would fly back and forth just to visit his dad in the hospital who was sick and eventually, too, had passed away. Wow. And I can only imagine how much weight that has on an NBA player, an athlete, let alone anyone.
Yeah. I heard that podcast is really interesting because, like you said, it has really created a safe space and an outlet for them to talk about this stuff. And it's really crazy when you hear what they say, talking about, I didn't want anyone to know what I was going through. I didn't want my life situation to be a distraction to the team or to my teammates. I hid behind a smile, but I also used physical fitness or basketball in their examples as an alter ego to get through my pain. And he wrote a book, Above the Noise, and he said that writing that book is what finally allowed him to touch on a lot of the things that he said he hid behind because of basketball. And I think that's so interesting because we do kind of use other things as an outlet or a mask to hide behind. So using that as a distraction from having to deal with what you're going through versus a healthy outlet, I think can be a tricky line and a tricky balance.
Being with the team helped him as he coped through his loss of the dad. Having sport there, that's your community. Leaning upon others, it can truly help you forge on. Most normal people may resort to substances or other dark paths because there isn't that positive light to fall back on. So the fact that having a community in things, I feel like is very important.
The pressure to perform doesn't stop, even when your world does. How do we deal with this grief? Yes, putting ourselves into our job, into our career, into what we love is amazing, and it can be a form of therapy. It can also be a form of escape, sometimes both. Another person that came on Carmelo's podcast was Malik Nabers, and I remember he talked about Kyron Lacey's death. For those of you who don't remember what happened, Kyron passed away in a car crash earlier this April, and he was supposed to enter this year's draft class. He had a bright future ahead of him, but legal troubles he was in, mental health struggles he was having ultimately led to the events that got the best of him. And I remember Malik saying a lot about regret. He had a lot of regret. He regretted leaving school without him. Him and Jaden Daniels went to LSU with him, and obviously him and Jaden left for the draft that year prior. And he said, my biggest regret is not taking Lacey with us when we left for the draft. And I remember after his passing, Jaden and himself went on Instagram and went into interviews and just said, you know what, he's going to live his dreams through us, and I'm going to do it for him. They have the opportunity to do these things for him and use it as fuel and motivation to honor their friend's legacy. And he even said that he wants to dedicate a lot of his touchdown dances this season to Lacey and do it as a way to show him gratitude and make sure everyone remembers his name. So I do think that with loss and grief, we see that too, of like, yes, it's sad and it's hard, but we can also use this as fuel of like, life is so precious and so short, and this person would want me to continue to excel and succeed.
Do you think that there's strength in bottling things up, or should you let yourself feel and process those emotions?
I never think bottling things up is the way to go. Bottling things up always just leads to it coming out in a way that you don't want or in a way that's unhealthy. So talking about what's going on and processing it and dealing with it is absolutely way better than bottling anything up, I would say.
Yes. And I feel like in the sports world, for athletes, being men, right?
Right.
It's taboo to talk about your feelings. So I commend those like Carmelo and DeMar and Malik sharing their stories, their personal experiences, because as you mentioned, it's not healthy to just keep all that in. And if there's a way to make light of it, alluding to those touchdown dances or just honoring in any way through your sport, I feel like that is changing and shifting the narrative, because that is a big weight to carry on your shoulders.
Yeah, and we all see it. Have you ever had to work or perform or be on when you were just going through it?
I work 9 to 5, so to speak. I have to be on. I have to turn it on even when I don't want to. I have to be in front of the cameras and smile, put a smile on my face and connect with individuals live in the flesh. And I'm not gonna lie, as soon as those camera cuts, sometimes I'm just back to grieving, or back to feeling just icky about whatever I'm going through in that day. So it's
true.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta push through and know that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
As personalities and people that are always on camera, it's definitely something an art that I think we've mastered. You kind of have no choice but to, in what we do as well. But like for you, when was the last time that happened, where you just really had to find that motivation to get yourself to do what you need to do, and what worked and didn't work when you were going through what you went through?
I would say just channeling an alter ego. I mean, I do that all the time, I feel, as one that is naturally introverted. But as soon as the lights come on, and this traces back to my dance days as well, as soon as I step on stage, it's completely different. I would get comments all the time from family members or just different individuals saying, that is not you. Like, how are you able to just pivot? But that's the thing. You really do have to step into a certain character or mind shape, whatever you call it, and just mind shape. What is it? I know that I'm not making that up. I'm really not making that up.
I know what you mean. I think is that a word, mind shift? It might be.
It's either mind shift or mind shape. Chat, let us know. Anyway, you get what I'm putting.
Chat, let us know what.
You get what I'm putting down. But
I get you.
Yeah, sometimes it really just takes talking to you. Yeah, sometimes I have to hype myself up. Like,
yeah,
go out there, do the job, and just deal with it. Channel whatever you're feeling, whether that is fear, whether that is hate or grief, and make that into a positive energy.
In my senior year of undergrad, even though I didn't have a death, thank goodness, you can have grief in a lot more ways than just someone passing away. I was grieving a really unhealthy relationship that had just ended. I was grieving the loss of my identity as a dancer because I wasn't on dance team, and I was trying to pivot more into my journalism career, figuring out what's next. So I had a big loss of identity. I'll tell you right now, what didn't help was not talking about it. I tried to just, keep going, not tell anyone what's wrong, and, I can handle this. And it was showing. It was showing in my performance. It was showing in my grades. And I wasn't telling anyone what was going on. So for me, even if the work I did was silent, I had to deal with the pain I was in order to move forward. And that's really what my point was, is even if you don't want to go and announce it to the world, you have to deal with it. You can't just go on acting like everything's fine. But once you kind of make the secret not so secret and just make it open and deal with it, look yourself in the mirror, it gets easier to be like, you know what, I can get through this. And I did. It was hard. And sometimes taking a second to acknowledge, what's going on right now in my life is hard, but I can do this. Totally. That's what really worked for me.
Yes. Well, I'm going to take a page out of your book. I know in the beginning of our conversation, we talked about me bottling things up.
Yeah.
It's been a work in progress, for sure. It's been a work in progress. And
you got to talk about it, whatever it is, or it's going to come out somewhere else. That's one thing I can 100% guarantee you. So whether that's therapy, I'm a big proponent and fan of therapy, whether it's just talking to family or friends or journaling, like you said, get it out and then move forward.
Yeah. We've talked about a bunch of sports headlines in this episode, but they've related to a lot of great and meaningful themes, from navigating betrayal, embracing a new rookie mindset, or simply just fighting through those unseen battles, fighting those demons, right? At the end of the day, sports remind us that behind the jersey, they're real people with real emotions. So,
yeah, we got to tap into the human side of the game, because the human side is really the character that shapes us and shapes what we put forward, what we bring to the table, and what you really see on game day.
It's the most relatable, too. We definitely relate to all the greater themes, the microcosms of life, if you will.
if you will. Exactly. Hopefully it can just be food for thought, Just think about the places in your life where you can be more humble, the things that you're hiding or bottling that go unseen. It's really a greater lesson for everyone. So, yeah, food for thought, you guys.
Well, thank you all again for tuning in, as always.
Chloe, it's been so good having you here in Miami. We're going to miss you so much.